Little update for this speed of sound delay video. I got a comment on my Reddit post that was just telling me about what could be a potential problem with the way I was handling the speed of sound delay. In my particular use case, the speed of sound delay works very well for like a one-shot sound effect, something that happens once. It's not really a moving sound effect. So like in the case of a gunshot, it's not a continuous noise that will be moving and need the sound to change its delay based on the distance as it's updating. So the example that they were talking about was like a jet or a plane, something that's moving continuously very fast and making noise. This delay idea that I was doing wouldn't necessarily work for that. It would be something more akin to delaying the start of the sound of the jet. So if the jet, say, when it started making noise was 10 seconds away, or the audio was 10 seconds away, based on the distance, that would just mean, given that I was using a triggered delay, that the audio for the jet would now always be 10 seconds behind whatever the jet was actually trying to do. Again, in the use case of a one-shot sound effect, the trigger delay totally works great. But in the use case of a continuous noise, it doesn't work at all. It just delays the start of the sound, and then you'll get a desync now between the continuous sound that's happening and the sound that you actually should be hearing. I kind of gave this a little thought, and what's playing behind me here is me kind of experimenting and trying to figure out how to do an audio delay instead of a trigger delay. Now, the idea I had here that I'll walk you through, and then I'll let this play so you can kind of hear the results. I assumed that what I was doing in my approach to this was going to be very naive and probably not sound great. And this is a 5-minute test that I did, and it already is way better than I had anticipated it being. I made a simple saw synth wave. We start playing a sound, and instead of delaying the trigger, I want to take the audio and feed it into a audio delay, which would typically be used for something like maybe a reverb or an echo effect or something like that. Do not give that audio delay any feedback, so it doesn't do multiple delays of the same sound wave. Effectively, it just delays the playing back of that current wave. And I changed the delay time of that wave that, in my mind, that was going to be kind of a simple way that might approach something that is allowing continuous sound to delay based on the distance. So if you look at this setup over here, and that delay node is being fed in the same calculation I was doing in the last video, distance divided by the speed of sound, then that out is just going directly into the audio out. The audio source that you're going to hear here is the character that's running around. And my first test kind of went better than expected, which is something that sounds a little bit like this. You can kind of tell when the character is moving away from us, the sound seems to kind of go, it pitches down, and then as we have the character moving towards us, it starts to pitch back up a little bit. And if you know the way sound works and the physics of that, that's the Doppler effect. That is, the sound waves, as we're moving closer, are closer together, so they sound higher pitched, and as a sound source moves further away, each of those sound waves that eventually does get to us are further and further apart, so we get a lower pitch sound from that. It's not 100% effective in my mind to test the just a flat sine wave, so I added an LFO to the synth to make this kind of roving sound effect. Right, so it has kind of two pitches that we're just alternating between, gives us something that's a little bit more interesting to actually test how the larger gaps and delays sound versus the smaller gaps and delays, and how much that pitch shift will change, with the Doppler effect. So I did that, added an LFO to this synth, and then I drastically increased my character speed. And I mean, honestly, this is way better than I could have expected it to be. I mean, as a first pass, that already is like more accurate and better than the thing that I was doing. But I'm sure someone could come up with another way to maybe smooth out some of the transitions at super high speeds. You can hear it get a little bit like stuttery when you start to get really far away, moving really fast. But also, conceptually, this is doing kind of exactly what I need it to do. You know, I've got audio routing into a delay node, and the delay time is the distance attenuation divided by the speed of sound. And we don't use any of the dry signal, use 100% of the wet signal, no feedback. And then the max delay time I changed to like 25 seconds. But I think you could, in theory, also kind of put a cap to how low and far away something would maybe pitch, which could alleviate some of the issue when it's really far away, that it kind of makes the wave, the audio wave that's coming through the signal so slow and chunky that you're probably going to get some artifacting, and you could just use the max delay time to kind of put a cap on that. I don't know. This is a pretty cool first little test, and it, I mean, the Doppler effect was literally a side effect of doing this, which is crazy because that sounds, I don't know, to me that sounds really great. I know it's a terrible synth, but man, this is already going to be the thing that I use on everything. This is the new patch. Like, this is fucking way better. Shout out to Need a Jacket over on Reddit, because I honestly didn't even think of this use case. My game being set in the Wild West means there really isn't anything that moves past the speed of sound besides gunshots and bullets and stuff. So there wasn't really in my mind a use case for delaying the actual audio signal. And for a first pass, is really fucking compelling. So yeah, I mean, I hope you guys can get some use out of this. This is pretty cool. Have a good one, and hopefully more Cowdoy stuff coming soon.